City Current. Produced by Dakota Media Access. In-depth discussion with Bismarck and Mandan city officials. Watch on Government Access Channel 602 HD or tune in to Radio Access 102.5 FM. Always local, always current.
Thanks for tuning in to this Mandan edition of City Current, recapping last evening's Mandan City Commission meeting. We'll talk about Mandan highlight video, actually show it to you, recapping a wonderful 2025 and leading into 2026, give you the update on the Memorial Highway plan, and talk about a lead service line project. I'm Tom Gerhardt from Dakota Media Access. Good to be with you and joined by Jim Neubauer, City Administrator from Mandan. Good to see you, Jim.
Good morning, Tom. Awful glad to be here, and the weather's a little bit different than it was last time we were here. I think we're, 50 degrees on Thursday of this week coming up, so looking forward to that.
Nearly almost got to get Mandan Muni ready.
Wishful thinking, but with that comes ice and slush and snow, and we everybody
stay off the
still
greens,
be careful.
stay off
and
the course.
Yeah,
but
no
yeah,
kidding.
I saw the 50s in the forecast. It looks amazing. Wanted to start off, as you did with the City Commission meeting last night, taking a look at a video, really well done, just kind of showcasing, highlighting the city of Mandan. So we've got that queued up, and let's just take a look.
Here it's more than a place to go. It's a place to belong. It's families side by side, kids wide-eyed, and grandparents smiling because they remember this feeling. It's Main Street alive with sound, music in the air, engines rumbling, and neighbors cheering like family. It's tradition in the dirt, pride in the stands, and moments passed down year after year. It's autumn nights where legends come alive, and winter lights that bring everyone together. It's warm hands by the fire, cold air, full hearts, and memories made in the middle of it all. And when the sky explodes with light, it's not just fireworks. It's community. It's home. It's legendary. It's Mandan. Visit Mandan, where the West begins.
That's pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. All the shout outs to Matt Shenandoah and the whole crew at the Mandan Progress Organization who helped put that video together, and the folks actually did it. I think it just showcases all of the good times and the things that are going on in Mandan through the great work that the MPO does. And it's one of those things where you look and go, if you can't find something to do in town, you just are not looking hard enough.
Not looking hard enough. Yeah, that made shines a great light on Mandan, and gosh, I mean, makes you excited about the rodeo coming up again and 4th of July and
rodeo, fireworks, Buggies and Blues, the parade, all that.
250th.
Yeah, there's a lot going on coming up, and then the pre-planning has already started. I know that we had a what we call a tabletop exercise in January with a whole bunch of a room full of 35, 40 folks that are all involved in putting on the parade and the 4th of July activities in Mandan, and all the security and all the health and safety and how do we get people in and out in a reasonable manner. So that planning really started about July 5th of 2025 for the 2026.
It always looks easy, like a great actor or athlete or singer
Yeah.
or musician. They make it look easy, but you really get a peek behind the curtain,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of work going on.
And again, huge shout out to all those. I know that Pat Haug with the Mandan Police Department is leading the charge in that. He has a ton of help with that, and it's not easy. And people think, well, you show up in your car and your float and you drive down Main Street and thank you very much, sayonara, see you later, and we're done. But many hours of planning and coordination and things like that go into this. And like I said, there are, goodness, I think between 25 and 30 different partnering agencies or departments that are helping put that on. So no small feat, and goes off every year, and all we want people to do is come and enjoy.
I had a front row seat many years in my during my time at KX when we broadcast the 4th of July parade live, and in many different elements. Come home with a sunburn or hammered by hail. You never knew what was going to happen.
It's North Dakota, and it's an outdoor weather event.
It is.
You plan accordingly.
Can't miss event. Other announcements last night. It's Career and Tech Ed month, and
Right.
proclamation was read, and a bunch of young students showed up, and that was a really neat touch.
Yeah, really fun when some of our high school kids show up. Brianna, make sure I get her name right, Brianna Santiago Devalier, I think is how you pronounce that. But she led the crew and read the proclamation. There was a photo op afterwards, and several different groups from DECA to FFA, and I think there was one called HOSA. Not sure what that stands for, but again, I think there were 3 groups of young folks that came up, and they stayed for the whole commission meeting.
I
So
saw
it was
them
like,
in the
okay, you
background.
guys can go if you want now, but they were, I don't know if they were interested or they just said, we're going to stay and watch the meeting tonight, and it's always good to have them involved and get them a little bit of, here's kind of, you have the old civics class in high school, and now you get to experience that in real time. And on live TV, thanks to Dakota Media Access.
Yeah, appreciate that. Wanted to have a graphic we can show here. There's a town hall February 5th. We're taping the day before,
Yes.
so some people will see or listen to this past this February 5th date, but as of now, this will take place tomorrow, Thursday at 5:30 in the commission room at City Hall.
Yeah, and this is, there have been several mailers sent out. I think if you haven't gotten one yet, you should have received one on whether we're trying to find, if normally in an older home, you may have lead pipes, and there are ways you can test and see if they are, and we need that response back so that we know how to plan accordingly when it comes time to replace those lead service lines. So again, Town Hall tomorrow night, 5:30, Mandan City Hall.
And we do have another graphic. It shows over 3,600 letters were sent out, as you
Right.
just indicated, and 157 responses at this point. And then, so if you go to the city website, you can find a link, and I know kind of went through the survey on the city website last night.
Right, and I think when we say we've sent out 3,700 letters, obviously we have more homes than that.
Correct.
But the newer homes would not have lead service lines. We're trying to identify those normally in your older neighborhoods of town that we can identify, and then we can come up with an appropriate plan to help owners with that.
Kind of buried the lead too. You honored city workers for their years of service, and you've just about run a marathon. 26. Well, maybe you have by now.
I don't
Maybe it
know.
is 26.2.
Yeah, it was. I think February 1st was starting my 26th year with
Okay.
the city of Mandan. So, have been very appreciative of the opportunity that was provided to me, and like I said, all of the folks that I have worked with over the years, I think have worked very well collaboratively. We don't always agree, but we agree to disagree in a respectful manner. But for 99% of those times, we are in full agreement, and here's how we propose things to the City Commission to move things forward. And I think folks, if they look at what Mandan looked like in 2000, a lot of big and a lot of significant and very good changes, all for the better.
I bet it's flown by in
It-
a lot of ways.
I had a little more hair on top of my head, a little less girth in my belly and things like that. But yeah, I've certainly enjoyed it. And like I said, so appreciative of all the folks that we have worked with over the years, all of the different commissioners that I have had the pleasure of working with. And like I said, just to a T, everyone has been awesome to work with.
Moving along, let's talk about Memorial Highway. I know we did last time as well, but before we know it, I think you said April 1st. I think things should kind of get underway, and in the meeting last night, we got a real good idea of the next couple of years and what's going to happen.
Right. It's we've had several meetings with representatives from the North Dakota Department of Transportation on scheduling and timeframes and contractors and things like that. So, in a nutshell, there's all kinds of moving parts on this project, as folks saw last year. But construction, weather, all of this is weather dependent. The underground work again will start on or before near March 31st, April 1st. There's no connotation with April 1st date in there. We'll leave that one alone. But again, it's weather dependent, and load restriction and frost comes out of the ground and things like that. But the plan is to start March 31st and move forward on the eastern half of this project, and that will involve, we have 2 lanes of concrete now. We need to put 3 more lanes of concrete, so and the underground work. So that phase 1, we'll call it, from 32nd Avenue, or more easily identifiable would be Midway, the east side of Midway lanes.
Right.
Through the east end of the project should have 5 lanes of concrete and walking path, multi-use path, and 90% of those cleanup items should be done.
So the lighter color on the phase 1 is
Right.
they got done. This summer,
Yep,
phase
kind of the
two,
gray,
that
the gray on the
pinkish
south side, the
will
pinkish part.
be complete by, I think, well, let's just forward to the next,
Yeah.
July 9th is the finish line.
Yeah, July 9th is the finish
Date.
line. The underground work from I think they have 2 contractors on board for the underground work, have committed to working. One of the contractors will be doing 7 days a week, 12-hour days until this is complete. The other underground contractor has committed to 6 days a week, 12-hour days, and they are both, in conversations with them, they are committed to finishing this.
And a separate contractor will be working on the west side, the 2 pink areas on the west side. You
Right.
see, we learned last night, there's some tree removal and already some things.
Yeah, already
Going
some
on.
tree removal going on to get in preparation of some stormwater infrastructure that needs to be put in on the west side of this project. And so you won't see a whole lot of what we call main line or what you drive on today on the strip on the west-hand side, except for after July 9th, we will see activity from Main Street to what we call the flood control structure on Memorial Highway, or most folks will say generally a little bit west of Riverwood RV, and that will be the road construction part. We've been very clear, I think, in our messaging with Department of Transportation and the contractors that we don't want to see both the east end and the west end plugged up and
Right.
and all messy and all kinds of things going on at the same time. We understand the east end needs to move forward and get done. So contractor will come in and after July 9th and start working on the west end, on the main line or the roadway surface.
And if we could go back to that graphic just for a minute, I think this is a question I think we'll hear quite a bit, or you probably will. I know I will. People even ask me,
Yep.
is there will not be construction in 2026 on the green shade. That will take place in 2027. So, and I know
Correct.
that was talked about last night, but just to make it clear for everybody, there may be an expectation, if people hadn't been paying attention, that would be done this year, but
We
that'll
had,
be one more year down the road.
We'll talk 15 in my tenure, right? Many years have gone by, and one of the original proposals was this would be a series of 3-year projects encompassing about 9 to 10 years to finish this. Officials at that time, we kind of went to DOT and said we can't have the entire roadway torn up for 10 years.
No.
And whether, obviously, it would have been done in 3-year increments, but just didn't find that acceptable. We had hoped to get it down to 2 years, where you go kind of east half,
Yeah.
west half, away we go. There's a lot of logistical things with the underground projects in here, from water run line replacement, stormwater, and roadway and things like that. We're getting one of the big things there is the power poles are coming down to kind of clean up the appearance on that strip, and thank you to MDU Resources that is assisting with paying for that. But again, we had hoped for 2 years. We're into 3 years, so we will the project from 32nd or just east of Midway Lanes on through Riverwood RV area. That will be coming in 2027.
Well, you want to get it right. It's a big
Yep.
deal. It's going to be a huge improvement once it's finally done, but I know it has a lot of interest.
A lot of interest in a lot of people now. I know North Dakota Department of Transportation is out there on probably a daily basis fixing potholes and things like
We
that.
heard
And
about that last night,
That's
too,
one of
just-
the reasons this project needed to move forward, because they're on the existing roadway. There's just not a lot there.
Yeah.
You can put cold mix and hot mix and whatever kind of patch you want into a lot of those potholes, but it's going to last. If it lasts a day, you're doing a pretty good job. But we're doing the best in cooperation with our Public Works and North Dakota DOT to minimize potholes. There are going to be some.
And put up with them. I know we've talked a lot about this, but just another plug for the businesses out there that
Yes.
are holding their own through this time.
Yeah, the City of Mandan provided through our Mandan Growth Fund. The recommendation was funds to the Mandan Progress Organization for gift cards.
Yeah.
So I believe if you buy, it's kind of like a 25% add-on. You buy $100 worth of services, you'll add on $25 more to that. There's a processing fee in there. But again, it's to encourage and entice those folks along that are patronizing those businesses to continue to do so. And here's kind of a reward for doing so. So again, we want to encourage folks to do that. We did a little advertising in December with some of those funds to say, hey, we're still open. and you can still get to the businesses. Great drone shots, overhead shots of how you can still get in and out of businesses, and please continue to patronize those folks.
And so far, the snow hasn't piled up to make it
Yeah,
a huge problem. I know, I shouldn't have said it.
Knock on wood, you just threw the jinx out there. We've had a pretty fortunate winter so far, and like I said, I'll knock on wood, and we hope that continues. And with the warm weather, the warmer the weather, the earlier maybe contractors can get going. But again, there's always the possibility of a April snowstorm.
May.
Yeah,
I shouldn't have said that either.
Yeah, we'll just. Can we edit that whole
Yeah,
part
I'll
out?
mute my Quinn will take care of it. Yeah, just eliminate me from.
But yeah, big message there is projects moving forward. Different contractor will be doing the west side, and again, they have. The bid project went out on the east side, and the west side was also one bid package. So you will see the same contractor working on the west side in 2026 and in 2027. So, like I said, moving forward, it's all a good thing. Look for some public engagement meetings towards the latter part of March to give folks a better handle on what they can expect.
And we'll keep you posted here on City Current as well as people keeping up with the City of Mandan City Commission meetings. New business last night, street improvements near Roosevelt Elementary, the District 242. Just an update on that project.
Yeah, we went, this was a project many folks will remember from a couple of years ago that was, in essence, it's water line replacement, street replacement, and things like that in general. And the district was protested out, so we weren't able to move forward with that project. Coincidentally, it was kind of like right after the project was protested out, we had a series of water line
main
breaks
breaks
in this area, and we're continuing to see those breaks in that area. So we're bringing it back, doing some more public engagement. We've had one public engagement meeting so far. I think we have another one on February 18th, if I remember right. But again, it's an attempt. We know the work needs to be done, and we wish we had a magic wand to waive it and then everything would be paid for and no one has to have a special assessment. Reality is there's a pretty significant portion of this project that is being paid for through some Department of Water Resources grant fund money because we're replacing water lines. There's some what we call municipal infrastructure fund money. Many people know it as prairie dog funds being able to use in this project, and also some of our city utility funds to help out to lessen that burden. We're not saying that it is completely wiped away, but a good portion of that cost of that project will be taken care of through those grant monies, and yes, there will be special assessments should the project move forward. And
the red area is what we're talking about. Also,
right.
We heard last night that it's sort of, you're going to pay for it one way or another, it sounded like to me, because these breaks, if I heard right, were tens of thousands of dollars potentially.
Absolutely. And we're having trouble where if you imagine you have a piece of straw, which in essence is a piece of pipe, and one piece of that pipe breaks and it's all the same straw. Well, you try and find then a good place to then attach onto your repair, and you keep going and going and going, and it keeps, you're finding that the pipe is old and it is hard to find a good point where you can attach and you can have some reasonable assurance that your fix that you've just done now is going to last without, I have a break here, and I think what we found out, we've got another break not too many feet away and another break not too many feet away. So it's a compounding of things, and like I said, we're chasing that pipe, trying to find the best place to hook on, and it's gotten to a point where it's going to have to be done, and how do we best go about doing it? And like I said, no one likes special assessments. We'll give you absolutely, honestly, we understand that, and we're doing our best to. We always research grant funds and things like that. So I think we've done everything possible, along with our consulting engineer, to try and find those pockets of money that help lessen that burden to the local residents.
Let's talk about the wastewater treatment plan, the
Yeah.
peer review. Nice presentation last night. Very informative. If you're really into the,
if you're into wastewater treatment plants, this is
where
your
you wanted
game.
to be.
We have a master plan update from an engineering firm, AE2S, that's done that for us, saying, okay, we're needing to do something and something soon. Initial estimates of that project are upwards of the above $100 million range. So we thought it would be advisable to say, let's bring in we call it peer review. Let's
Another set of
engage
eyes.
another set of eyes to take a look at this and make sure we're doing our due diligence and saying we're not just taking one person's and one firm's word for it. We've had a collaboration on another firm come in and take a look at that. We've had folks say, well, why don't you just move the wastewater treatment plant? You now have multi-million-dollar homes that are in that neighborhood, and
It's not that easy.
not quite that easy. Some say,
Or,
why don't you just...
I bet it's expensive too.
Well, in the engineering world, I think they say everything is possible. Just
Sure.
how much money
Yeah.
do you have? And we are in the world of worlds, and the way Mandan has grown and has developed, was and continues to be the best location for a wastewater treatment plant, because that's where stuff flows downhill. And we still have a number of lift stations to get it there. But again, people said, well, why don't we just put a pipe under the Missouri and send it over to the city of Bismarck and let them treat it? That's one of the options that was looked at. We looked at relocating the entire plant, but that relocation really, because where the plant is currently, you're kind of like at the tip or the confluence of the Heart River and the Missouri River. There's really nowhere else to go other than potentially south of Fort Lincoln State Park. Long way away.
Yeah.
A lot of logistical hurdles in that. So again, it's a matter of what do we do, and we've explored those options because we figured that's what folks are going to ask us. What else did you look at?
Yeah.
Here's a whole breadth of options that we looked at. And again, the peer review is really to say, okay, as far as treatment process, are we doing and are we looking at a process that is going to take care of us today, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 25 years from now? What kind of regulations do we expect coming up from the EPA? PFAS is one of those big ones that is a hot topic right now, and how we deal with those, so we're not putting stuff in the Missouri River that's contaminating that system, because that's a pretty big no-no. We are fortunate to have the Missouri River as we call it dilution is one of the solutions to pollution. Not to be coy or anything, but
Right.
We are fortunate to have the Missouri River, and that is what we send there is certainly very clean, and it goes through a number of series of processes. But again, peer review, wanted to make sure that our initial look at this are the things that we need to be looking at, and get another kind of opinion on cost and things like that. So
Last night also a second final consideration of ordinance, 2483, the
Yes.
stormwater rewrite. Again, maybe not a sexy topic, but an
No.
important one.
kind of like wastewater treatment plant is not one of those sexy topics, but it's extremely important, very expensive, and it's what folks expect. You expect when you run your sink that you get clean water. You expect when you flush that's going away. This is part of that treatment process where you don't have a choice. These are things that need to be done. With the stormwater rewrite, we know that we had looked at several different options. This has been a long-term project that's been in the works and study for many, many years, and finally came to a conclusion that said, okay, let's start adopting some of these ordinances in the stormwater plan, so that we want to ensure that, my property has runoff. If it runs off to Tom's property, is it doing that in a safe and in a manner that didn't adversely affect the property? We have a lot of people that think, well, I live on a hill, I don't have any stormwater issues. Well, every downspout that you have, and every driveway that you have, and every rooftop that you have is contributing water to the stormwater system, and it needs to be put somewhere. So,
Everybody's affected.
yes.
I wanted to just get your thoughts on the state of the cities. Mayor
Yeah.
Freilich joined Mayor Schmitz from Bismarck this week, and judging by the photo we have here, a packed house, and a nice chance for people to really find out what's going on in Bismarck and Mandan.
Yeah, a little different format this year. In the past, they've had, the mayors of Mandan and Bismarck would do kind of a PowerPoint or a slideshow presentation on here's what's been going on. I think the chamber surveys everybody afterward and says, what did you think? How did you do? This year they came up with kind of a fireside chat format where, all right, there's some questions for each Mayor Freilich and Mayor Schmitz, and those were, that was more of a conversation style with them.
Yeah.
I think the president of the Bismarck Mandan Chamber EDC, Brendan Engel, said there was close to almost 600 people in attendance. So the mayors did their fireside chat, and then a national economist came in and gave kind of an outlook on what his opinion is of the state of the economy and things like that. So, kudos go out to Mayor Freilich, Mayor Schmitz, and the Chamber for making this work. It worked well, and for all of our city staff, again, that have contributions and topics to talk about and things like that. So I think it went over fairly well.
Well, that wrapped up the meeting last night and wraps up this episode of City Current. We want to remind you, if you like both of us, you like video on demand, you can download our apps to find these programs and many more of the government meetings or our community access side. You can also visit dakotamediaaccess.org and find all of our content there. For Jim Neubauer, I'm Tom Gerhardt. Thanks for joining us.
For more information on what was discussed in this episode of City Current, visit cityofmandan.com or call 701-667-3215. If you have any suggestions, comments, or issues you would like addressed in future City Current episodes, contact us at info@freetv.org. This program airs on Government Access Channel 2 and 602 in HD, or on Radio Access 102.5 FM. It's also available as a podcast on radioaccess.org and as a video viewing link at freetv.org. Thanks for tuning in to this edition of City Current.